but there ain't nobody stopping us. We got bills, but no dollars. But now we don't really give up. No, we don't really give up. Living for that ray of light.
Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're doing fantastic. We're getting started here in just a few seconds.
Going all the way tonight, making it beautiful. Acting like there's no tomorrow. Acting like there's no tomorrow. Acting like there's no tomorrow. Acting like this. Acting like this.
Bitcoin maintains 9,000 as traditional markets continue to pump. Facebook is gearing up to be the world's largest bank to directly compete with central banks across the world. Meanwhile, the entire crypto community prepares for an impending bull run brought on by the Libra FOMO. Also, is Cardano ready to 2x in price? All this and more on today's exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Let's get cracking. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Of course, I am your host, Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at KrakenCryptocurrency.com. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you happen to be tuning in from, and whether you're watching us from across YouTube, DLive, Twitch, Facebook Live, or live on the Roku network at the Investors News channel. Okay guys, so we've got a great show for you guys today. Of course, we are recording live Thursday, June 20th, 2019, Breaking Bitcoin, your daily source for market updates, sentiment, and news for professional traders. Today's episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update is brought to you by us. If you are a new trader or an experienced trader looking for something better, looking for something that works in all market conditions, please check out our premium info page and see all that we have to offer: proprietary strategies, custom indicators, educational content in both video and audio form covering topics from technical strategy to risk management and position sizing to lifestyle sentiment and more. All this and more at premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. That's premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. All right, guys, so Premium Trading Group update. I'm currently working on the next full module that's going to be released. I've been working on that every single day. It's going to cover an additional filter that we can apply to our current strategy to significantly reduce the number of losses that we take. Because whenever we are applying a strategy across all market conditions, then it's going to give us a frequency of signals. And our job as a trader is to filter out the losing trades and position size correctly into all trades so that we maximize our potential for profit and that we minimize our potential for loss. We need to have an asymmetric distribution of wins to losses. Now, we do know that in any one individual trade, the market is going to return results randomly. However, over a series of trades, that is where the real strategy testing of a professional trader comes into play, where we look at where and how we can asymmetrically distribute our wins and losses over time by adjusting our entries, by adjusting our exits, and by adjusting our position sizes as well. And so our job is to apply filters to our entries and exits and not only use one indicator or a couple of indicators, but a suite that is going to allow us to generate those asymmetric returns. Okay. The ByBit trading competition is open for registration. So for the rest of the week and actually into early next week, registration will be open. If you do want to participate in the ByBit trading competition, there are going to be prizes, but it is a friendly competition. If you've signed up at ByBit with our link, bybit.crackencryptocurrency.com, that's bybit.crackencryptocurrency.com, you can participate, get a hold of me in the DM, or you can shoot me an email at contact@crackencryptocurrency.com. I need your user ID. You can change your username to make your name more easy to find in the leaderboard when that goes up and live. The trading competition will start next week. Okay, let's see here. I want to thank our current Discord Nitro boosters. Thank you guys so much for boosting our server. If you guys want to help support what we're doing and help support our Discord community, if you have Discord Nitro, you can just go and boost our server. I highly appreciate that. Thank you to all our current boosters. You guys are absolutely fantastic. All right, and I want to give a big shout out to yesterday's comment winner, GBU Wally. Thank you so much, Wally, for participating yesterday and leaving a comment on the video. And I already got a hold of you in the DM and gifted you some crypto. So congratulations, man, and shout out to you. So we're going to start off today's show as we always do, and let's get into the live scene. All right, so here we are in the live scene, and let's start off by going over to the YouTube comment picker. And let me pull open yesterday's video. And we will pop that URL in and choose a winner from yesterday's video. Just a moment. YouTube is giving me some issues. How are you guys doing in the chat? Let me know. Hopefully you guys are doing fantastic. All right, so yesterday's video was Facebook's Libra coin, what they're not telling you, i.e. the truth. Thank you guys so much for everybody that showed up yesterday. It was a deep dive into Libra coin. If you haven't seen that video, I would recommend that you go watch it. I quite enjoyed doing the live stream yesterday and giving my analysis of Libra coin's white paper, and I will continue to do so. All right, so we're going to choose a video. We're going to throw that URL in. We're going to load comments, and we've got 26 potential winners, and we're going to randomly pick a winner. Oh, no, see, that is a spammer. That is a spammer. So we're going to have to delete that comment. I'm sorry. Spammers do not get the... No, that is also a spammer. So let's fix that real quick. Let's fix that real quick. Nope, that's also a spammer. Also one. Also one. Also one. Let's see here. Note to self, delete spam comments before I do the YouTube random comment picker live on the air. This is a plague. Okay, let's see here. Sort by newest first. And here we go. Got him. I always report them for pornography or sexually explicit content. For some reason, I feel that YouTube responds better when I do that. Okay. 24 frames a second says, you got stream pranked. Okay, let's try this now. Let's see if it... We'll do this. Oh, come on. All the spammers, man. Okay, here we go. Light Raigne. That's a real person. I know because you're in here all the time. Light Raigne, you are the winner. We have shifted through the shaft, or excuse me, we have arrived at the wheat. And Light Raigne, congratulations to you. I'm going to put that in my show notes here. And if you get a hold of me in the Discord at JustinWise5696, I will gift you some crypto. Thank you for participating. All right. This is a live stream, yes. That's why things are funny when they don't work so well. Okay, so getting into the charts, guys. Let's go over to Bitcoin. Okay, and we'll get rid of our support and resistance lines, and we'll just take a look at what we got going on. All right, so taking a look at Bitcoin here on the daily, price is looking quite good. As we talked about right before I left for vacation, I exited my 1x short right here, sitting in Bitcoin. Again, we've talked about this many times. This is a particular movement where a leverage trade where a full position size was not warranted, did not come across the system, and sometimes that's absolutely what's going to happen. As we can see here, even with the sped up settings on WADA-ATAR, 1226, we can see that we do get a long signal right here. WADA-ATAR does not confirm. And on this candle, we are too far above the baseline. We are above the qualifying line. There was the opportunity to catch the pullback right here on the lower wick of this candle because we do wick down in. However, they are getting a hot water for not deleting that content from the fence. Potentially. So we've talked about this before. So let's just look at where price is right now. Price is above the baseline. Minx is above the zero line. However, inside static, which is typically a no trade zone. And if we look at Wadatar Explosion is still a rising explosion level with green columns being printed above the explosion level as well. That is a signal to enter. Those are primary entry indications. So if we actually would have just taken this the way that Wadatar would have let us trade, we would have been entering a trade here at 86.71 potentially, if we are forgetting all the other filters from our system, which again, our filters are there to reduce losing trades. And something that I'm going over in the current module is when you're looking at filters, for example, when you're looking at filters that you need to apply to your trading strategy, you are invariably going to lose some winning trades. What you need to do in your testing is ensure that the number of losing trades is greater than the number of filtered losing trades is greater than the number of filtered winning trades. You don't want your filter that you're going to have applied into your strategy to be excessively pulling you out of good trades. You want it to be excessively keeping you out of taking bad trades. However, to get one that's really good, you are going to come across situations where you are invariably going to have a couple filtered winners. And that's okay. That's natural. That's part of your strategy. You just have to make sure that whenever you run the numbers, that it is asymmetric and that you are getting a greater benefit. And then when you actually do your full testing and you actually run your P&L numbers through there, that the distribution is even more asymmetric when you actually get into your discretionary position sizing. So anyways, nothing to do right now on Bitcoin. Nothing to do right now. As I said yesterday, actually, as I said when I returned from vacation, this is not a situation where I'm going to be entering into a position, and I'm glad because overall, just a lot of professional term here, wiffle waffle, down and up, not a whole lot of volatility, not a whole lot of opportunity to make a move. However, if I go over to my trades, because again, one of the things that I really think differentiates the way that I trade from the way that other individuals trade, for example, is the fact that I trade all coins. I trade all coins on Binance. I trade all coins on ByBit. I trade all coins on BitMEX. And so I don't really have to care about trading one chart. And this is something that didn't used to make a lot of sense to me years ago, but does now. You get individuals that only limit themselves to trading one asset class a particular type of way, instead of trying to trade a preponderance of asset classes a preponderance of assets across the exchanges that they're offered. So individuals are often in Bitcoin going to say, well, Bitcoin's the only thing that I trade. I only trade Bitcoin. And I think that's not congruent with the way that I trade, because there are going to be many, many times when there's not a trade to take on Bitcoin. It's not asymmetric. The risk is higher than the reward. And it doesn't matter if you would have made money or lost money on the trade. The setup wasn't there. So you can make a living, and this is just how I trade professionally cryptocurrency. You can make a living by looking at the entire sum of what the market offers to you to trade. There are many, many, many opportunities. You don't just have to trade inverse futures contracts. You can trade spot. You can trade spot on Binance. You can make quite lucrative profits off of there. In fact, I would say that almost the entire majority of all my winning trades right now at this point in time are Binance trades, for example. There are only four leveraged positions that I have on separate exchanges. On BitMEX, actually. All those are on BitMEX. So, yes, 4 positions. And then the rest are all Binance. The rest are all Binance trades. Some are BTC trades, some are USDT trades. So, let's get into lower time frames here, because we do have WADA above the explosion level, we do have price above the baseline, and we do have Minx above the zero line. So this is an area where we could go down to lower time frames and look for lower time frame positions. If we look at volume, however, volume is fairly unimpressive. Of course, we cannot gauge today's volume because the candle hasn't closed. We did have a fairly significant move to the downside, but less volume on the push back up. So these are typically situations where you want to be careful. However, I will say, based on price action analysis, when you do see consolidation at higher price levels at resistance, that's typically a bullish sign. And again, as I've said, I am definitely leaning bullish because we are above the baseline and all the other factors are bullish as well. If we do see price close back below the baseline, which is just what we did back here, then I will become more bearish and be looking for trades to the downside, as I did in this area as well. So let's go down to the 12-hour. 12-hour actually gave us a continuation long on the close of the previous candle. Again, we are going to be using UTC time. So UTC time at about at the close of yesterday's candle, actually. This candle will be closing quite soon. This candle will be closing at the close of today's daily candle. So at the previous 12-hour close, we actually did get a continuation long signal. Let's take a look at some profit targets and see if we would have generated anything off of this. Of course, not yet. We're still looking for a profit target of around 95.60. So nothing to do there. Continuation long would have met all the requirements. Continuation signal from Minx, price above the baseline, and Wadatar not doing anything not needed for this particular type of setup. 8 hour, we would have gotten a continuation long over here on the 19th at 1600, and we have not yet hit a profit target on that as well. Still holding on to that long. Going down to the 6 hour, we got our primary signal over here, which would not have been valid to take. However, the continuation long would have been valid to take, and price was fairly good. We have hit take profit 1 on that 6 hour trade, and going down to the 15 and the 30 for intraday traders today. Let's take a look. We did have a nice long signal over here on the 30-minute chart at 12:30 a.m. UTC time. And this would have been right around 92.80, and we would have smashed out all 3 take profit targets for a day trade of about 1.16. Pretty good with some leverage right there, 10x leverage position. And price is now telling you to get out of that long trade, which you are still able to get out now on the close of this 30-minute candle at some profit here in about 12 minutes and 41 seconds. Going down to a slightly lower time frame, the 15-minute chart would have gotten you in right here, for example, into a long position here around 92.68, 92.69 at the close of this candle. And you would have been able to hold this position open for all 3 take profits as well. About the same thing, about 1.56% profit on that, and now telling you to be out on the close of the previous 15-minute candle. So as of right now, I don't see any setups to the long side. We will not be looking to take shorts because the daily time frame is bullish. And I don't see any time frames giving us a long signal at this point in time. The hourly is tempting one. We are coming down to the hourly baseline, and that's about it. We're still far away from the baseline across pretty much all other time frames. I would say that the 12-hour and the 8-hour look more lucrative for their setups that we got over here. So we'll be watching this. Price having a nice sell-off right now. Price down about 1.25% just in the last hour. So basically giving back everything that a long trader would have taken. This is why we use predetermined take profit levels, and price continuing to fall. A lot of momentum, especially here on WADA on the 15-minute time frame. So let's see. Let's go to the daily. Daily on BTC USD. Yeah, so price pulling all the way back, holding above the ATR line right there. So we're not even in the buy zone for a primary signal, still above the buy zone for a primary signal as well. But we've got a long ways to go, about a 5% pullback to get back down to the baseline, to be quite honest. All right, moving right along to Ethereum. All right. Moving right along to Ethereum. Let's go look at Ethereum on Coinbase as we do. And on the daily time frame, similarly, not a whole lot of action and activity to take here. There was a long trade that could have been taken let's actually take a gander here. You could have taken it here. You could have taken it here and missed your first take profit. If you bought the pullback on this candle, you would have cleared your first take profit. You are right back there at that price level right now and still in profit. You're at break even if you would have taken the primary signal. You are in profit if you would have bought the pullback, more so if you would have bought the pullback to the daily baseline. So again, price is still bullish. We have Minx above the 0 line. We have price above the baseline. And if we look at Wadatar is mostly keeping us out of any positions. We do have a rising explosion level with momentum pointed to the downside. But so far, we have not been able to push a momentum candle above the explosion level either. So there's not even a primary signal for a short there. And of course, we can't take a short when price is above the baseline. Volume oscillator as well, if we take a look at that, is also keeping us out of any trades at this current point in time because it's just telling us that there's no volume to take any trades. Now, if we do get a continuation long signal with Minx crossing above our noise line, then I will be taking that trade to the upside. However, there's nothing really to do right now on Ethereum. Now, over on ByBit, I do have spot Ethereum. I do have underlying asset of Ethereum, and that is in a 1x long, has been held right there. So again, I have seen some appreciation from that, but that's just the way that I do my holdings at that point in time. Litecoin is getting killed. That makes me very, very, very happy, to be quite honest with you, based on my position on BitMEX. So let's see. Now, if we do take a look down at our relative vigor index, any long position that we would have opened here, we are now getting the signal to exit from relative vigor. Now, whether that's just due to too much sideways activity or honestly, whether that is just due to the momentum of price to the downside, price really hasn't made its move. So based on every factor here that I'm seeing, even if we would have looked over here, this would have been an indication to exit with price printing a bar underneath Wadatar, the explosion level. Of course, we don't use that. Minx's sensitive stop loss would have gotten us out on the same candle as well. Relative vigor, which keeps us in trades longer, is now getting us out actually at a better price because we did have a little bit of a pullback. So if you would have have entered a long here or whether you entered a long here, you're going to want to be exiting your long position tonight on the close of this candle and waiting for a re-entry signal. Going down to lower time frames, continuation long on the previous 12-hour candle, which would have been valid, and 8-hour time frame got a long signal over here that was not confirmed by WADA, so that's nothing and nothing to do right now at this point in time. 6-hour time frame also threw up a long signal over here at 1300, which was not confirmed, so that's nothing. And going down to the intraday time frames, 30-minute long signal here that is a losing trade. That is a losing trade. So far, nothing generated off of that. If we look at the last 30-minute signal that we got, that was a great trade. Hit all three, take profits. Yes, right there for a total of, let's take a gander, about 1.37%. So not a bad intraday trade. Going over to the 15-minute time frame, 15-minute is throwing up a short, something that we wouldn't take because we are not trading against the daily. The daily is still above the explosion level, but seeing some good momentum to the downside here over the daily hours here in Thursday. PleaseCBD says, can I check out COVA? Or Ethereum Classic. Thanks, bro. You are a god. No, I'll not a deity, but I will be happy if I can just remain a profitable professional trader. Thank you, man. I'd be happy to. Let me go down to ready chart requests, COVA, and Ethereum Classic. Can I make RVGI more visible? I can't see it all when you bring it up like this. Let's see what I can do. Okay, so let's do our relative vigor as a white line, and let's do our signal line as a black line. Is that better? Is that easier to see down there now? And another thing that I can do is I can make them a little thicker. Thicken them up. Boom. Boom. How's that? There we go. Good old Facebook bank. Times are weird. Thoughts on the Ethereum Classic fork? I honestly don't have a whole lot of thoughts. You know, we were talking about that in the office this morning, and it's just not something that I really don't care too much about typically. So typically my strategy has always been, and maybe you can actually educate me a little bit on it. So typically my strategy has always been is when a coin is going to fork, that you want to buy the rumor and sell the news. So you want to buy whatever the underlying is ahead of time and then actually sell it before you, COVA BTC. I got you, man. You want to sell it before the split, right? So we've done this multiple times with multiple coins. You know, obviously the biggest winner that I can think of in not so recent history would have been Z Classic when they did the Bitcoin private split. So we bought up the Z Classic and it pumped 200%, and then we sold before we weren't interested in getting the Bitcoin private. And you know. Other opportunities with nulls, for example. So there's been lots of opportunities where we've done things like that. So as far as the Ethereum Classic split, I mean, we will take a look at the Ethereum Classic chart. I'll actually keep that up right here. Ethereum Classic Bitcoin as well as Ethereum Classic USDT. But I'm not really interested. How do I put this? So from a theoretical perspective, I actually lean more towards with Ethereum Classic with Ethereum USD. I think that what the Ethereum Foundation did with the DAO hack was the wrong choice. I think that code is law, and I think that is how things are built from the ground up. I think that when the DAO hack happened, that was the nail in the coffin for me for Ethereum. So people always ask me why I don't like Ethereum. And the reason why I don't like Ethereum is because of the way they handled the DAO hack. I think that they did it wrong, and I think that Ethereum Classic did it right. But unfortunately, you've seen where the capital has flown. And so from a fundamental perspective, am I a big fan of Ethereum? No, not really. Does that mean that I won't does that mean that I lock myself into not purchasing it or trading it? No, absolutely not, man. Absolutely not. Ethereum is the second most liquid coin in cryptocurrency. In fact, I often prefer trading Ethereum over Bitcoin because it is more volatile, so it gives me more opportunity. It often gives better signals. So it's just one of those things where I do align theoretically and fundamentally with Ethereum Classic. But then again, Ethereum Classic has had significant capital issues and teamwork issues. They got 51% attacked. And the reason why that all happens is because they just don't have enough money and capital and enough people bang, bang, bang in the drums, getting people excited about using Ethereum Classic to make it a viable product at this point in time. So again, this can go multiple ways because more often than not, you see a coin that is going to do a fork or a split run up, and then as soon as the fork happens, both dump. And it's kind of like an IEO. After it dumps, you wait a month or you wait a few weeks, and you wait to get a signal, you wait for price to bottom out, and then start putting in some bullish appreciation, and then you kind of have a secondary bull run, generally on the newer coins, sometimes on the old coin as well, because that is an exit pump for anybody that bought at the top, so they're going to push the market up. So, so the current Ethereum Classic fork is something, honestly, that I just don't know too much about to give you an educated opinion. I don't know when it's going to happen. What I would say is, if there's time to purchase Ethereum Classic, it's not a bad bet. But again, that's a speculative investment. That's a speculative trade that really doesn't have anything to do with PTP. So ideally, I would prefer to see a PTP signal before trading Ethereum. So, taking all the fundamentals aside, taking all the news and potential aspects aside, it's more than likely, unless you're going to take a portion of your capital that you're totally okay with just throwing into the dumpster, which again is what 1 to 3% of your portfolio should always be, then I'd probably stay away from it because the opportunity, the odds of it turning in your favor if you didn't, if you don't have a strategic plan are fairly low. Hopefully that makes sense. But it could work. It could work. Okay, so where were we with our Ethereum USD analysis? I think we went through all the time frames. So we are currently at 2637, so I think we're good. I think we're ready to hop into yeah, Scott, if I had a wider screen, that wouldn't be a problem. So I'll just cut and paste it when we're done. So let's go into some of our long-term analysis. Let's look at longs and shorts. So we're going to look at longs right here. Okay. So 24,192 long positions on BitMEX right now. Here we go. Yeah, 24,192 long positions on Bitcoin right now over on BitMEX. Let's actually take a gander. Let's take a gander at what price is doing. So over here, as we can see on the 13th of June, we actually did get a long signal on our long positions, as we can see. And that is a fundamentally leading indicator that we can use for the purposes of putting on positions. Let's see what would have happened if we would have done such a thing. Let's go over to the Bitcoin chart. Let's go back over to longs. Where was that signal generated on the 13th of June? 13th of June was right here. That gave us a long signal right there. So that is one fundamental indicator that you are allowed to look at, that you can potentially look at incorporating into your strategy. Again, most people are not going to use longs and shorts correctly. I don't think that they're best used as a counter reversal trade. I think that they're best used as confirmation indicators. I think that your sentiment can be a confirmation indicator. You just simply look at longs and shorts as they're intended to be used, as what they actually gauge, which is bullish or bearish sentiment. There are obviously going to be opportunities, and I've discussed this at length on my stream, about how when you do see, I wonder why RVGI went away like that. When you do see, sentiment really high, for example, when you see shorts really high at the bottom, after a downtrend has been pronounced, that can often be an indication that we're going to get a squeeze and that the trend is about to shift. However, that's speculation, because the times that it works out compared to the times that it doesn't, basically it's something if you nail it, then you do great. But the majority of times where you don't nail it, and it's just that information is just, a candle blowing in the wind, it's just not going to be super helpful. It's better, in my opinion, to just use longs and shorts data as it was intended. as a leading indicator of sentiment. Okay. Looking over at shorts, we do see that there are more shorts than longs, however, in this situation. So we have 26,593 shorts compared to longs. And again, we get the same bullish signal on shorts over here on the 12th of June, 2019. So what do you want to, so how can you clarify this information? How does this make sense? If we get a long signal on shorts and we get a long signal on longs, that's pretty simple. You go over to the chart and you tell me if price is bullish or bearish. And what is the simple way that we utilize to tell us whether price is bullish or bearish? Where is price in relation to the baseline? Is price above the baseline? Price is bullish. Is price below the baseline? Then price is bearish. And so if you are looking at sentiment as a leading indicator or a confirmation indicator, you want it to align with the current actual price action trend. So you go look over at price action. Is price above the baseline? Price is bullish, and you take into account the longs. Is price bearish? Then you take into account the shorts. Because when you see rising shorts during an uptrend, it means you have individuals that are hedging against their spot holdings of BTC, which is a smart thing to do. Perhaps that's something that you can incorporate into your trading as well. And when price is bullish and you see rising longs, again, people are betting on the market. So it is in your best interest to bet on further price appreciation. And when price is bearish and you see rising shorts, it is best on your interest to look at moving into a short position, because that is the way the price is actually moving. And current price tells you how the market is responding to sentiment, news, traders, institutional investors, period. Speculation, news, none of that stuff in absence, and even longs and shorts data does not really give you a strong indication of which way the market's going to move. You want your longs and shorts data, you want your sentiment data to be aligned with what the market is actually doing. So, Dad23 says, how can I set my candles to show buy candles like you have? Love how simplified this looks with your setup. Sorry if these are dumb questions. I'm just trying to learn. No, there's no such thing as a dumb question, man. The only dumb question is, who is Satoshi Nakamoto? The answer is, it doesn't matter. Satoshi Nakamoto is all of us. These buy candles in PineView. These are all indicators that I've programmed. It's not too hard to do. It's a bar color function. So you can just set whatever your condition is long, and when that condition happens, you set a bar color function. So without learning a bit of Pine, you can't quite do it like that. You actually do have to write the code in, but it's honestly not that difficult just to write the bar coloring. So let's go look at... Oh, by the way, guys, so a little bit of feedback on Minx. So it uses the security function to be not in its main purpose, but it does have the option to reference different time frames. And I haven't gotten any feedback from anybody really using that function. And because it does have that function programmed in, if you try to set alerts, it'll say, hey, warning, this indicator might repaint. Because whenever you use the security function in TradingView, it has the potential to repaint because it's referencing data from a different time set. So if you're on a lower time frame and you're referencing OHLC data from a higher time frame, like say the daily, and the daily candle hasn't closed yet, well, what that is telling you is that, hey, any indication that you're getting right now might change because the data set that you're trying to pull from is not closed out. So if you're trying to set a 15-minute alert based on daily time frame data using Minx, for example, and you're referencing the daily time frame, the daily candle hasn't closed yet, it's going to give you that warning because your indication might switch. Now, the main way that we use Minx does not reference the security function at all. So I'm going to remove that so that it doesn't throw up that annoying warning unless anybody can give me a very strong argument. I'm going to need a preponderance of people who say, no, I absolutely love this. And if they do so, then I'll probably create a separate Minx indicator just for the purpose of the security function and incorporate features from time transformation into it. But the default Minx that everybody is using for the purposes of PTP, I want to simplify that and remove that warning because it annoys me when I try to set alerts as well. So, and there's really no reason for it if nobody's using the security function. Matt says, just growing pains, don't hate. Ethereum is sick. No, I feel you, man. I feel you. I feel you. You wouldn't happen to have a vested interest in that Ethereum, would you? Dun, dun, dun. No, just kidding, man. Listen, I mean, it's just one of those controversial subjects where, you know, we kind of have to agree to disagree. I think that Ethereum is trying some really neat stuff. And I think that as open source technology and as a proponent of open source technology, I fully support them and what they're going to do. But I'm going to be generally more critical about Ethereum than I'm going to be on Bitcoin. But I hope so. You know what? Honestly, because I don't wish ill on anybody else or any other project, I really do hope that they solve all the issues and that they get past their growing pains and they blossom into a beautiful butterfly. I really do, because I think that'd be good for the space. Okay, and, you know, Vitalik Buterin's pretty cool, so what can I say? So getting back to, I think we touched on the longs and shorts data pretty well. So let's go look at Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance continuing to rise. Okay, we got the long signal on Bitcoin dominance over here on the 13th of June. Again, another leading indicator. Individuals are moving their holdings from other positions into Bitcoin. This is typically quite bullish for Bitcoin. However, we need to understand as well that this can also lead to a actually, no, it can't, because I was going to say that this can lead to price moving down, because individuals moving into Bitcoin and then hedging against, that actually doesn't move the price down. People actually have to sell their Bitcoin for USD to move the BTC USD chart down. So this is actually quite good for Bitcoin. When Bitcoin dominance is moving to the downside, we can actually see positive aspects for altcoins. However, believe it or not, there is more bullish opportunity generally when Bitcoin dominance is rising for altcoins than when it is not. When Bitcoin dominance is stable, how do we put this? It all depends on price action, because when Bitcoin is bullish, altcoins are going to be the most bullish, especially altcoins to USD. Okay, altcoins to USD or USDT. When Bitcoin is bullish, altcoins to USDT do quite well. When Bitcoin is bullish, altcoins to Bitcoins are kind of hit and miss, but generally there's more capital flowing around for pumps. When Bitcoin is sideways and bullish, so when we're above the baseline and Bitcoin is trending sideways, that's typically when your alt Bitcoin pairings do the best, because individuals move out of Bitcoin and trade alt to Bitcoin pairings to increase their Bitcoin valuation because they're bullish on Bitcoin in the future. Most individuals, and again, maybe this is just me, but most individuals aren't really interested in holding altcoins to hold altcoins. They're interested in holding more Bitcoin for price to move up. Zcash USD asks Tom Hardy, of course, man. We will add it to the request list. All right. So this looks good for Bitcoin. This looks, I would say, actually okay for altcoins, because price is bullish, Bitcoin dominance is rising, meaning that there's going to be opportunity for alt USD trades, alt USDT trades, and alt BTC trades are going to be kind of hit and miss. But at the same time, when we go back over to the price chart and look at actual Bitcoin price action, I would say this is a little bit more sideways than anything else, at least over the last 4 days. So again, alt BTC pairings can actually have some good opportunity in this situation. But again, it all depends on the individual chart. USTD dominance dropping and falling. We actually got a short signal on USTT dominance over here on the 14th of June. Again, very good for Bitcoin, very good for alt to USDT pairings, because individuals are selling their tether to buy Bitcoin and to buy altcoins. Okay, so this all goes hand in hand. All right, having said that, let's get right on over into, let's see here. Let's get over into traditional markets. And before we get into traditional markets, guys, so we've gone over a lot. We've gone over Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. We've got far more to go over for today. But we've looked at Bitcoin and we've talked about what exchanges to trade it on. So if you're currently trading on BitMEX, this is a public service announcement for you. If you are tired of getting wicked out of your positions, if you are tired of not getting your orders filled, and if in general you are tired of all the other shenanigans that go on there when trading your Bitcoin to USD or your XBT to USD on the inverse futures contract over there on BitMEX, if you're tired of the shenanigans, then I invite you to come trade on the exchange that I trade on. It's ByBit. Again, just a public service announcement, because I don't like the things that BitMEX does on their platform, especially if you are trading Bitcoin to USD. Now, there are not as many pairs to trade altcoins. You do have to hold the underlying asset, but that has some nice added benefits as well, meaning individuals actually have to throw the underlying asset on. So it's a level of difficulty that provides a little bit more convenience, in my opinion. Anyways, so you guys can trade on ByBit if you want. If you use our link, you can also participate in our ByBit trading competition. You can sign up at bybit.crackencryptocurrency.com. That's bybit.crackencryptocurrency.com. That's the exchange that I trade on. They're based out of Singapore, so I also feel quite secure as opposed to most of these fly-by-night exchanges. Moving right along into traditional markets, we're going to go over the S&P, E-mini futures, metals, commodities, and oils, and Forex as we always do. Again, we are going to be adding Forex in Q3. We're going to be adding Coinbase Pro either at the end of next month or this month. Haven't actually figured out the workflow on it yet, but we do have everything ramped up and ready to go for our Coinbase USD pairings. So for those of you guys who want to trade along with us, if you are wanting to trade Coinbase USD pairs, that is something that we're going to add very soon. So let's go to traditional markets. Actually, let's go over to our CFDs. And the first thing that I want to look at is the S&P. So let's go look at the SPY. All right, so looking at the CFD on Awanda, which is my broker, looking at the S&P 500, we can actually see, again, a long signal over here on the 5th of June, as we've had. Market continues to pump. Traditional markets continue to look extremely bullish. Got a continuation long signal on the 17th, so not yesterday, but the day prior to yesterday. And again, that was a signal that the one should have taken, and price is doing very well on the CFD so far. So let's take a gander here. Have we hit take profit one? We have already hit take profit one on that trade that was just generated 2 days ago. So doing very, very well. Let's go look at 10-year bonds. 10-year bonds look very well. Look very good as well. We've gotten multiple continuation long signals. So 10-year bonds out continue to look very good and bullish. Let's see here. If you guys have any traditional requests, that's absolutely fine. So we've looked at traditional markets. Let's hop over to the E-mini futures real quick and look at the NQ. NQ continues to rise above all. We did get a long signal again on the 17th on the NQ, just as we got one on the S&P. And we've already hit take profit one on that E-mini trade. Going over to the SP. SP continues to look quite bullish as well. The E-mini future gave a long signal on the 17th as well. So the markets in traditional land continue to look quite well. Looking over at the Dow, this is the E-mini Dow YM. Again, long signal on the 17th. The Dow did signal a long on the 5th as well, a primary long that hit all three take profits just now, and potentially a scale back in for our continuation long. Looking over at the Russell 1000, primary long signal over here on the 6th of June, so 1 day later. Not a continuation long, but this is still a trade that we would be holding on to. We have just hit take profit 2 of 3 and moving on our way up. Looking at VIX for the day. VIX currently sitting at 15.02, so beautiful opportunity, beautiful range for intraday trading as well. And looking at gold on commodities, gold having a beautiful gap up, and look at that. We went over this yesterday. There was a continuation long signal on GLD commods over on SIBO. And again, look what you got to wake up to when you just followed the system. You got to wake up to almost over a 2% gap, and price currently up almost 3% on you on a GLD commodity trade. Beautiful. The system works quite well. All right, so let's go over into our CFDs and look at precious metals and commodities. Same thing. Here's ZAO USD. Here's the CFD over on Awanda. Actually, this is not a CFD. This is just precious metals over on Awanda. So ZAO USD gave us a continuation long signal yesterday. I talked about this yesterday. And again, what do you get to wake up to? Not a massive gap up because the market moves differently than traditional markets. So there's no close. But a price up 2.2% on a ZAO trade. Beautiful. Looking at Palladium. Palladium stalling out a little bit, and that's good. We got the last long signal over here on Palladium here on the 5th of June, 2019. And yesterday actually got the signal to exit your take profit long trade. So this is where I'd most likely be getting out of the market. Let's take a gander at RVGI. For some reason, it decided to... Oh, I know why. Because we're on the wrong chart. So let's go look at our CFDs and go look at Palladium. RVGI not telling us to get out yet. We do see pinching on RVGI, so we would be holding on to this trade. But again, Minx getting us out currently, so far as we can tell, at the very top of the market. Looking over at silver. Silver, we got a continuation long signal over here on the 13th of June and a beautiful signal, and we continue to rally in silver, up 3.74%, hitting a high of 4% to the top. Iron Cat, can I look at NVIDIA? Yeah, sure, man. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. We'll throw that in the requests. Looking at Platinum. Platinum, again, still not doing anything. What's interesting is we are actually getting a long signal on today's candle. Let's look. Let's look and see if we can take this trade. Minx generating a primary signal. Wada Atar confirming. And volume oscillator confirming as well. This is quite good. Volume looks quite nice. So if we do close above the baseline, platinum could finally be ready for a beautiful trade. Looking at gold to silver continues to consolidate above the baseline. We are getting a continuation long trade. Let's see here. Continuation long trade above the baseline. This actually looks pretty good. I don't really like this long price tail, I'm not going to lie, but who am I to try to subjectively interpret the market? I just take the trades that my system gives me, and it doesn't matter if it's a winner or a loser. I end up winning more money at the end of the year than I lose. So, but just subjectively, I don't really like the way that long price tail looks, especially grabbing liquidity above the top of the market like that. We'll see. We'll see how the daily closes. But again, gold to silver does look like a valid trade. Looking at Bentley crude, finally getting a long signal on crude oil over there, and everything is confirming as well. So crude, I think, is finally gearing up to go on a nice little bullish run. So Bentley crude is a long signal. Looking over at corn giving a nice bounce off the baseline, as we talked about. Last continuation long over here in a very similar situation where price had pulled back down to the baseline, as we can see on this pullback, and then continuing to appreciate. So another rally left perhaps in corn. Natural gas, as I said yesterday, gave a continuation short signal. And you know what's beautiful is that the way that most people think about the markets is just not trend following, man. Like this is bearish. The system tells you it's bearish. It tells you to go short right here. It tells you to go short, no arguments. You go short and you get to wake up today up 5% on a short trade on natural gas. Natural gas is bearish as hell. Continues to be bearish. Soybeans looking very much like corn, pulling back to the baseline, giving a nice bounce. No indication to enter again yet. However, depending on whether you're using Minx, which is a sensitive early exit, Minx told you to get out right here, which is good. Good entry here, exit here on soybeans, and RVGI would still have you in this trade. So depending on whether you're using sensitive or less sensitive, it all depends on your back testing. Let's see here. Sugar gave a continuation long that is mostly just pulled back. RVGI crossed and got you out here. Price pulling back down to the baseline. Let's see if sugar can actually give a nice little pump over here. I wouldn't really want to do anything. Now, West Texas crude, we talked about this yesterday. West Texas crude actually giving us a long signal on the close of yesterday's candle. Bentley crude just giving us a signal now on the pump. So had you been diligently following and trading the CFD, for example, West Texas, you'd be up about 5%. Reached a peak, I think, of about 5.37% on your West Texas oil CFD trade. And wheat looking quite similar to corn and soybeans, pulling back and giving a nice little bounce off the baseline. Looking at the Euro 50 again, we got a continuation long signal a couple days ago, and price continues to look bullish. And that's about it. Just for fun, we'll look at the French 40. French 40 looking very much like the Euro 50, giving a nice little bounce off the baseline, a continuation long. So, all right, Jeff Handsome, good to see you, man. Much love to you as well, Iron Cack. All right, so 47.27. Okay, so let's go over and look at our major Forex pairs. Looking at the Aussie yen. Not much to do here, man. Not much to do. This has been a short. We either continue to hold open the short or continue to take a little bit of profit right here at this point in time. Minx got us out of the trade yesterday. RVGI is threatening a cross up, so potentially be looking to take your profits on your Aussie yen trade. Aussie dollar is actually close to signaling along. This is actually some nice bullish price appreciation. Minx has not quite caught up yet, not giving us a signal. So let's just see how price develops. But Aussie dollar would definitely be on my watch list. Canadian Swissy gave a long signal yesterday that is going to generate into a losing trade today. And overall, let's see here. We got a signal here that we would have hit take profit one on right here. Before reversing and exiting at break even. So one okay trade, one fairly, just a regular losing trade right there, honestly. Continuation short here, which would have generated take profit one, maybe take profit two on that wick until getting back to break even. Canadians, but again, Canadian Swissy does have the propensity to actually have nice appreciation. So here's a long signal that we're able to take here, and that worked out very well. And then a primary short signal here, which worked out very well as long as we held on to the position. Nothing to do right now in the Canadian Swiss. CAD yen giving a long signal on today's current candle. So CAD yen is potentially a long. Swiss yen is close to giving a long, but not quite yet. Euro Aussie is giving nothing. Euro CAD, we continue to ride that continuation short from a few days ago. Euro Swissy, we continue to ride the short from a few days ago. Euro Kiwi, nothing to do right now, potentially gearing up to make a short trade. Euro Pound, nothing to do right now. We are out of all positions on the Euro Pound. Euro Pound gave us some beautiful trades on the way up. The last continuation long was a small loss. Euro Yen, continue to ride the short trade. Euro Dollar is not gearing up for a long yet, but let's watch for a pullback. We don't have a signal yet. Pound Kiwi, overall doing nothing, man. And I like this because Minx, Wada Atar has kept us out of most trades. Potentially, we took that long trade yesterday, but getting a lot of just getting eaten up by chop right now. So overall, our filters are keeping us out of this, which is good. Pound Canadian, continue to ride a continuation short. There is a continuation short on the Pound CAD today. Pound Aussie is giving a continuation long signal on today's candle. The Pound Swissy, continue to ride the continuation short from a few days ago. Pound Yen, continue to ride the continuation short from a few days ago, potentially taking some profit today. Pound Dollar is nothing quite yet. Jeff Handsome, thank you so much for the $5, man. Highly appreciated, man. He says, smash that effing like button, you peasants. Hey, they're all good people, but thank you so much, Jeff, for the support. Much appreciated, my good friend. Kiwi Dollar, nothing. Kiwi CAD, nothing. Kiwi Swissy, nothing. Continue to ride that short from a few days ago and potentially taking some profit today. Kiwi Yen, short position, potentially taking some profit today. Dollar CAD, continuing to ride the short position from yesterday as we called out. Dollar Swissy, continuing to ride the short position from... Actually, the Dollar Swissy is giving a short today, but not something that we can take. We're well too below our qualifying line. And getting into the dollar yen, I think that's where we're going to stop. Continuing to ride the continuation short from yesterday. Beautiful trade on the dollar yen that we're waking up to today. Yep, dollar yen. Got a continuation short on yesterday's candle right here. And we get to wake up to this. Beautiful trade. So nothing to do right now. Let's see, we would have hit a couple take profits on that already. Yeah, so continuation short here, hit take profit 1, and we have take profit 2 at not 1-1, and what's this? 106.50. Okay. And one thing that I've been keeping my eyes on lately is the dollar yuan. And as we can see, we did finally generate a short signal on the dollar yuan and waking up to some nice profits. Currently up about it's 520, but that's because it's different the way that pips are calculated on the dollar yuan trade. But doing quite well, man. Great peasants, you guys are funny, man. I appreciate the support in any way that you guys decide to give it. All right, so that's pretty good, man. We went over. We went over our traditional markets, our E-mini futures, our commodities, our oil, and our major Forex pairs. As always, if you guys have any requests, make sure to drop them in the chat. We're going to take this opportunity to take a quick break. Allow me to refresh my water cup because I haven't been drinking a lot of water on stream. I normally do. And I'm also going to be right back, I guess is the right word. Wow. Hey, very professional, Justin. Awesome. If you guys are appreciating the content, and thank you so much, Draconiac29, thank you so much for the follow over there on Twitch, man. Welcome to the community. Pleased to meet you, my good friend. If you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to this channel as well, whether you're watching from Twitch, DLive, YouTube, or Facebook Live. There's also a beautiful share button, so make sure to show your friends, your family, and especially show people you don't even like, because they're either going to like you or hate you. So this information is important, just trying to get it in front of as many eyeballs as humanly possible. Get your chart requests ready, guys. When we come back from the break, we're going to be going over the breaking news for today and taking your user submitted chart requests, guys. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, guys, and we're back to the live scene. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so I did want to thank you so much, Michelle Marie, for the subscription over there on YouTube. Welcome to the community. Yeah, you guys just saw that. There's a fly in here. All right. And also, I'm sorry that I'm sorry that I did not see you, but Robert Zem, Sean Evans, and ASM 956. Thank you so much for the subs over there on YouTube as well. Welcome to the community. All right, guys. So we are back live, and we have got some breaking news for you guys today. So the first little news article that we're going to talk about that I actually think is kind of important, and keep this in mind as well as what I said about Ethereum. Am I fundamentally against it? No, I wouldn't say that. There's just things that I don't like about Ethereum that I'm critical about them on. In the kind of wave of noise of Ethereum, of a lot of Ethereum proponents out there. I'm coin agnostic, so I'm interested in seeing the technology and actually seeing results and not just believing in the premises of things. I actually can see visually what Bitcoin has done. I believed in it from the start. I've seen what it's been able to do, and for that reason, I am a fundamental proponent of Bitcoin. But let's get over here. So Amazon customers to make purchases with Ethereum thanks to a startup partnership. So Click Technologies is teaming up with a company called Opporty to make a browser get away from me, fly. Hiya. The fly wants to be on stream. It wants to be popular. Click Technologies is teaming up with Opporty to make a browser extension that will allow you to make purchases on Amazon with Ethereum. So this is going to be very similar to our browser extensions like oh God, man, the name has escaped me. Even though MetaMask. So the browser extension that allows you to do your DEXs with MetaMask. A lot of individuals use MetaMask. So this will all be done based on Ethereum's Plasma Cash innovation to Ethereum. So in other words, transactions are going to be settled and processed off-chain, not directly on-chain. This is very similar to Bitcoin's Lightning Network. Now, keep in mind, Plasma Cash is not pushed into Ethereum yet, so it's still a concept, whereas Lightning Network works every single day. I just used it the other day. So a little comment there. So currently the Ethereum network can only handle about 20 transactions per second. If you compare that to Amazon, which handles around 300 transactions per second. However, developers of the technology, developers from the startup, claim that with Plasma Cash enabled, they will be able to rival the payment processing capability of companies like MasterCard in their transaction per second throughput. So they are also considering the development of an add-on that would enable any ERC token, not just Ethereum base, to be utilized as a payment as well. So this is pretty big news. This does highlight the fact that cryptocurrency is the future of technology for all mediums of exchange and for payments. So as I've said many times before, humans always adopt the best technology to solve problems eventually. This is just how social evolution works. For example, when, the television first came out, most people from older generations did not utilize it. When email came out, most individuals from older generations did not use it. It was the younger generation that always adopts the new technology that is the better solution to solving mankind's problems and ushers that into the new generation as the standard, just as we've seen with internet technology, just as we've seen with email, for example. So just imagine the world that your children and your grandchildren will grow up into, having cryptocurrency becoming the default payment, the default online go-to for digital payments. My grandparents still struggle with the concept of that ordering from Amazon is just quicker, cheaper, more convenient than leaving the house and going to the store. I order from Amazon all the time. So now we're going to have the opportunity to do that with Ethereum, and it's just more and more and more of this always compounding and building and growing, and this is how a new technology develops. This is how mass adoption happens. Sometimes, getting back to that concept of humanity always adopting better technologies, we have to look at this through the lens of social evolution and evolutionary process as well. So societies that adopt a better form of technology will outlast or defeat other societies that choose not to adopt that technology. So example, look at military technology that certain countries have decided to adopt. Look at World War I, look at World War II, look at just about any war that's ever been fought, and you can see that the more technologically advanced society wins. And this is kind of if you go to Star Trek, this is the prime directive. If you go to just about any concept of of extraterrestrials and mankind species, it's always been feared, and there's been a lot of movies that have talked about this, for example, but it's also just a general concept based on our experience and our understanding of human history. Whenever you have an advanced technological society encounter a less advanced technological society, then the more advanced technological society always defeats the less advanced technological society. That's just the way that the world works, because technology allows human beings to be more efficient, to solve more problems easily, to have greater capabilities, to have more diversification of skills, to have better to have better training in diversified skills as well. Because, for example, when mankind instituted agriculture, then we were able to focus on different jobs such as pottery and weapons making and blacksmithing and animal husbandry. And you can just see the massive explosion of human efficiency and proficiency after every single massive adoption of technology, agriculture being one of the most fundamental and developments for human beings. So this is just, it's survival of the fittest, survival of the technologically fittest. It's just the way that evolution works. So for those of you scared that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is doomed to fail, don't worry. Evolution is on our side with this one. All right, moving right along. Cardano is partnering with the country of Georgia to utilize their blockchain, the Cardano blockchain, to improve their educational services. So initially, this is going to be used to verify the credentials of government employees who are going to be involved in the education sphere, involved in the education of of everybody, of their children, of their colleges. However, the implications of this technology are pretty far-reaching. So it's not hard to see how this technology could be great. It's also not hard to see how this technology could be Big Brother-ish, how this technology could be dangerous. So here's the good scenario. Your credentials, all the work that you've put in as a human being, are stored on the blockchain and verifiable so that nobody can manipulate your data or cast your credentials in a negative light. Your credentials are locked on the blockchain and nobody can take that away from you, meaning that your ability to apply for jobs is going to be simple. If there is a qualification for a job, they simply look at the blockchain. Do you meet the qualification? Boom, you're in there like swimwear. So everything you've done, and it's in the blockchain forever. Now, here's the bad scenario, is governments, and this is kind of the big problem as an anti-statist, this is the big problem with everything, is government control, government regulation. So the bad scenario is governments instituting required classes or mandatory qualifications that are mandatory to qualify for certain jobs, positions, housing, food, assistance, etc., you name it. Anyone that wants to go outside of the system will be unable to, because if you haven't done the government's mandatory programming, if you don't meet their mandatory requirements, then you won't have a record on the blockchain, especially as things like this become more and more and more automated. It's hard to argue morality or exceptions with an automated system, with a robot. So anybody who's ever stood in line at like the DMT or the courthouse or anything where you have a government official or you have some official who can make a significant choice just in basically like shuffling your file over to the side or shuffling your file to the right side, for example, that can make a significant impact in your life. Well, anybody can tell you the power of persuasion and argumentation. Persuasion and argumentation, it's how human beings negotiate. It's how we compromise. It's how we solve our differences non-violently. It's fairly impossible to do that with a machine. So, for example, if you're a charming individual and you're in line at the DMT, it is a possibility that you can get somebody on the other side to see your morality, to see your humanity, to convince them why your situation is different and why all they have to do is literally move a piece of paper to the left side or the right side. And this is kind of a trope. It's a meme throughout human history, right? Especially like I use the DMT example. People are always like, no, please, you don't understand. I got my kids and blah, 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 blah. And, they're able to convince the government official of their humanity to just simply do their tasks slightly different. And that significantly impacts the life of the human who is basically pleading for an exception. You're not going to be able to do that with an automated system. You're not going to be able to do that if a lot of these things are automated and using the blockchain as their backup. And this can be a good thing, again, if we have less regulation, less government rules, and things are more open sourced and based on experience and reality, and you can program that stuff into the blockchain. But if we take our current standards and model them into the blockchain socially, then I can see some really bad implications from this. Again, from the government instituting mandatory classes, mandatory verifications that an individual is going to have to jump through those hoops. And if an individual does not want to jump through the government's hoops, then they're just going to basically be blacklisted from holding any kind of qualification for obtaining any kind of job, for obtaining any kind of assistance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, fairly impossible to argue with a machine. Trust me, I know. I've sometimes sat here and yelled at my computer to work better, and it just doesn't work very well. So, getting over into some hype news. So, the entire crypto world is losing their mind over LibreCoin, Facebook's new cryptocurrency. And again, we reported on this quite significantly and quite in depth yesterday. So if you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend you go check out yesterday's video, Facebook's LibreCoin, what they're not telling you, the truth. So, as the online communities speculate about what LibreCoin is or isn't, or what it will be or won't be, in the background, a well-known hype man that we know as Justin Sun, the founder of Tron, is predicting a massive crypto bull run. So the reasons are clear. 30% of the world uses Facebook. Only 1% of the world uses cryptocurrency. So this is a massive gap of individuals who will now be introduced to crypto as a tangible reality, to actually be able to get their hands on a cryptocurrency, i.e. Libra coin. So even if 10% of that difference, of that 29% differential, of individual, well, it's probably larger, all the Facebook users who have cryptocurrency or are interested in cryptocurrency, and the individuals who are not, who have never held any cryptocurrency, I'm sure is more than 1%. So even if 10% of them go out and buy crypto, the impact on the market cap for cryptocurrency should be quite significant, right? We're talking about, onboarding a significant portion of the world onto the concept of cryptocurrency, even if the gateway drug for them has to be some garbage like Libra coin. So as a trader, this really excites me. This is really what we want. Anytime that there is a tangible reality out there to pull more people into the market that we are trading, this offers up great opportunities for us as a trader. So, and this might sound a little zero-sum because trading is a zero-sum game. However, let's talk about this and let's just talk realistically and logically. This might sound bad, but the more uneducated investors in the space, typically the more opportunities for a professional trader like myself or anybody who is following a systemic system that they have back-tested over time to know is profitable. The reason that most traders lose is because they jump into the market and they trade subjectively. They trade based on no system. They trade based off no position sizing rules. They trade based off no entry and exit rules. They trade differently every single time they execute a trade, meaning they have terrible records. They often don't keep records in the first place, so they can't even keep track of what they're doing well or what they're doing wrong. Trading is a statistical game on the professional level. If you want to be in this space and if you want to be a winner, if you want to be a consistently profitable trader, you have to trade according to rules. You have to follow the rules, even when the rules make you lose. That is the point. The trade, your system is going to get you into a preponderance of trades, and you need an asymmetric distribution after you analyze your series of trades. You need an asymmetric distribution of winners to losers. So the only way to do that, the only way to accurately and actually realistically evaluate your process, your ability, your success in the marketplace is if you are performing according to a system, a systemic strategy, something that is very akin to automated trading. So now as a trader, again, this might sound bad, but again, the more uneducated investors in an asset class, in an asset space, generally the greater the opportunities are for somebody who is not an uneducated investor or trader. So people buying at bad prices and selling at bad prices gives me and gives us the added liquidity and opportunity to buy at good prices and sell at good prices. And the more now, this is one of the downsides of this. The more liquidity that comes into an asset, generally the less volatility. Because what is volatility? Volatility is defined as an asymmetric distribution of buyers and sellers at different prices. This is what leads to wild price swings because there is not an infinite number of willing buyers and sellers at every price level. You have an asymmetric distribution across the order book of where and quantity of individuals who are willing to buy and sell. So the more active traders that you get in the space, the more active investors that you get in the space, the more symmetric that distribution becomes because now you have more willing buyers and sellers at every price level. This does tend to reduce volatility in an asset space, which I know scares a lot of people. However, we have years of high volatility in cryptocurrency ahead of us, absolute years. And even after that, cryptocurrency, when it is more regulated and more traditional and less volatile, it is going to be tradable just like any asset. It's most likely going to be the most liquid asset class out there. The Forex market is entirely based off of national central banks. It is entirely based off against trading foreign currencies against one another. What happens when the entire world is generally using reserve currencies, i.e. Bitcoin, i.e. cryptocurrency, and not really relying on national currencies anymore, and when we've transcended national currencies in its totality. The Forex market is largely going to disappear, and what is going to replace it? It's going to be replaced by the cryptocurrency market. You're still going to have the traditional markets. There's always going to be companies. There's always going to be corporations. There's always going to be stocks and bonds because it is a winning model. Capitalism is a winning model. Capitalism is the best system, is the best structure that mankind has ever generated, ever in the history of mankind, to improve human affluence, to improve human wealth, to improve humanity's standard of living. Capitalism beats all other models of society, hands down, no argumentation. Socialism results in misery. Communism results in misery. Now, that's not to say that social programs based upon those models cannot be beneficial when introduced into a capitalistic structure. For example, America is a capitalistic structure economically with lots of social benefit programs. Lots of Scandinavian countries, for example, are capitalistic in nature, but have large social benefit programs. So it's not to say, and again, we try to remain socially neutral. However, obviously, most individuals know that I have my own opinions upon this as well. We try to remain socially neutral on this channel because we're here for trading and we're here for hard facts and realization and not necessarily to get into more controversial subjects, except when that is interesting to talk about. However, we do know that, as far as we know right now, the best model for humanity and for prosperity across the world is capitalism, and i.e. that's going to lead to corporations and stocks and bonds and all that stuff. So that stuff's always going to be tradable. And again, as somebody who looks at traditional markets every single day, I think that most individuals should diversify their trading into traditional markets and Forex currently as well, and not just cryptocurrency, because there's lots of opportunities elsewhere. You don't have to have all your eggs in one basket, especially with your investments. I don't think anybody should be all in on Bitcoin. I think that individuals should consider Bitcoin a very lucrative investment as part of their portfolio. But if they're not weighting that portfolio against things like precious metals, if they're not weighting that portfolio against things like foreign currencies, if they're not weighting that portfolio against other traditional bonds and stocks, I think that they're making a significant error of passion, and passion is the death knell for a trader. Okay, so we need volatility to survive, but reducing the wild swings of crypto will also allow and incentivize more traditional traders to enter into the space, bringing even more liquidity in and forcing exchanges to become more regulated, more traditional. Now, on its face, that might sound scary, but realistically, from a professional trader, I would actually like that, because with that comes added security as well, and that's one of the largest issues. So security is always an issue in trading cryptocurrency because there's no regulation, there's nobody to tell anybody what to do, and there's nobody to stop exchanges from doing shenanigans. This is why I trade on ByBit as opposed to BitMEX, because the level of shenanigan bullshit is significantly lower on ByBit, right? You don't get those large fuck you wicks, which are exciting and profitable for certain people, or they think they are. But if you are not in the know, if you are not a market mover or a market maker over on BitMEX, this is not benefiting you. How many of you have been completely, totally trashed and torched on a trade for no reason, just because BitMEX decided to take a big dump and then completely reverse? Now, again, there are ways to trade against this, but my point is that the entire mindset has kind of been built up around, well, you just need to know how to trade better, bro. Totally, man. It's not BitMEX, dude. You just suck at trading. No, it's mostly just BitMEX, dude. It's mostly just BitMEX, and that's why I trade on ByBit, because you don't get any of that bullshit. So sorry to get a little passionate about there, but I really don't like what they're doing to retail traders over there on BitMEX. I think it's BS. So this is exciting. Anytime we have a realistic, tangible opportunity to increase volatility and liquidity in the space, I get pretty excited about it. And I think that this is tangible. And slapping Justin Sun's name on it is just kind of BS, whatever, who cares about Tron. Moving right along, over at Yahoo Finance, 100% Cardano price spike awaits after testnet release, predicts analyst. So Cardano is up over 105% year to date. Most cryptocurrencies are, as it trades at around 9 cents as of this writing. The cryptocurrency is known to some as the Ethereum killer. It may have already made big gains this year, but it appears to just be warming up. We are not alone in this sentiment. So Mr. Beast Lorian over there on Twitter. Now, I've followed some Beast Lorian tweets before. He doesn't seem like an unintelligent individual, but he is over here with his tweets pumping Cardano and predicting a 2x pump over the next month, basically just based off the fundamentals that their testnet is going to be released tomorrow. Now, this tweet was made on June 15th, so this is a few days old. So this is a few days old news. And let's go take a look over at Cardano. Actually, what's interesting about Cardano is that Cardano continues to be one of our most profitable open positions, and I guarantee you we're not in a long position on Cardano. So buy the rumor, sell the news. So we'll see if we can get some bullish price appreciation. But the entire point of this, the reason why I wanted to point this out, is that tweets like this, predictions like this, nonsense like this, it's just BS, dude. It's just BS. It has absolutely nothing to do with trading. No professional trader thinks that he can actually predict the market. In my experience, not the ones who are lucratively successful. Most of the stuff that you see from people who are on CNBC, most of the individuals that are on Twitter, they have absolutely no idea what they're doing, and they don't have skin in the game, and they just make wild predictions that they don't have to be held accountable for. Whereas I, as a trader, every single trade that I talk about, I take. I have skin in the game. So if I'm wrong about a trade, or if my strategy doesn't work, I'm losing far more money than anybody who's trying to listen to me and take my advice, for example. So, having skin in the game and having actual accountability for what you say. For example, I come on here and I look at the same charts every day. So if I say something dumb about Bitcoin yesterday, I have to be held to account for it today, live in front of all of you today. Same thing for Ethereum, same thing for any traditional markets. And again, I don't know, you guys, all the videos are public. You guys go back and look, am I more right or am I more wrong? You guys let me know. I know what my equity curve looks like, so I would tend to argue that my system works. And again, it's not me. It's not me. I'm not making predictions. I tell you what my strategy tells me, about the way that the market looks and what positions are lucrative to take right now and what positions are not. And things change every single day. That's why I update every single day. You'll never see me come on here and say, look, man, I just bought a massive bag of Cardano. We're going to 10x. I don't trade like that. And you'll never see that stuff out of me. So Just a little primer on what you should avoid and what you should look for when you're looking for what advice. Steve C, hey, what's going on, man? Have we gone over LTC? We have not, man. Of course, we can add it to the request list. Please let me know what you'd like me to look at, BTC pairing or USDT pairing. All right, it is 1:20, and we've gone through all the major news of the day. There were some other articles, but nothing that really tripped my trigger or the trigger of our analysts back in the office. So let's get right into our ready chart request. Before we get into our ready chart request, we've talked a whole lot about what tools to use or ways to trade as a professional. And again, as we say, one of the tools that we use as professional traders is 3 commas. We do trade a lot on Binance. In fact, Binance accounts for a lot of our profits. We personally think it's the best exchange to trade on spot so far. When now coming off the news that Binance is going to be banning US customers, geo-blocking them from their main website and opening up a Binance US exchange, we've seen how this has worked in the past with the reduction of volatility. And this is exactly why, perhaps presciently, we decided to go ahead and begin trading on Coinbase USD as well, trading BTC pairs and USD pairs on Coinbase Pro. So that is something that we're going to be adding. I've talked about it every single day. Now we're potentially looking at exchanges like Wabi, the exchange formerly known as HBUS, to incorporate into our trading as well, because one of the big secrets to our success is not just focusing on any one asset in this entire asset class of cryptocurrency, but trading on the best exchanges and taking all pairs and all opportunities that we may come across. So if you guys would like to use the same tools that we use 3 commas to navigate this and make things very easy. Of course, on Binance, you can't set a stop loss and a take profit simultaneously. You cannot use a trailing stop loss. You cannot use any advanced order features, which 3 commas has. I have some information that 3 commas is adding more multiple take profits on their bots, for example, as well as some additional features into their bot trading as well. Another nice thing about 3 commas is that if you're using TradingView, you can incorporate TradingView proprietary indicators or custom indicators to generate buy and sell alerts and actually have those trigger automated over on 3 commas. And you don't have to use something jank and dangerous like AutoView, for example. So if you guys would like to use 3 commas, if you're not using 3 commas, you guys can sign up for a free trial over at 3commas.krakencryptocurrency.com. That's 3commas.krakencryptocurrency.com. It's the tools we use, and I highly recommend it to anybody who wants to be trading in this market and have the level of success that we do. All right, so getting right into our user-submitted requests. Right up comes from PleaseCBD is COVA BTC. So Covalent, what's going on Covalent? Let's take Quadriga ATR off of here, and let's just look at price action. So let's look at Covalent. Nice little pump and dumpy coin. Seems like it launched back in December of 2018 and has mostly been in a bearish trend since then with a few whack-a-noodle random pumps. Nothing really that's profitable for us to take. Again, these are largely motions that we miss. And what's really beautiful about this is that's why we have the qualifying line to keep us out of these trades. Again, same thing here, would have kept us out of taking this trade. You have to, some pairs like this. Now, not all, in fact, most altcoin charts don't look like this, even though people think that they do. People think that all altcoin charts are only one candle of pump, and therefore if you don't buy the reversal, you're not going to be able to profit. This is nonsense. The correct trades to take in altcoins, at least the way that we trade them, is to catch these moves when we actually enter into a sustained trend and actually get a profitable movement. Covalent is not one that we've traded very much. In fact, I'm only seeing one trade right off the top of my dome that we would have taken, and that was this trade right here. That would have generated a good signal. For the most part, our filters kept us out of every other single trade on this pair. Now, let's go into current price action and let's take a gander here and a look-see. So we did get a long signal over here that we would have taken. Again, that was a loss, so Covalent, not something that I'm entirely very happy with so far. Continuation long on this candle right here that would have been a profitable trade, and then getting indications to exit our trade on this candle right here, both with Minx and both with RVGI. And it's basically kept us out of the market ever since. Now, price is bullish because we are above the baseline. Minx is above the zero line. Wadatar is mainly keeping us out of all primary trades, but we wouldn't get a primary trade unless price went back down below and came back above our baseline. So this is most likely something where we'd have to do parameter optimization to actually construct a system. It doesn't seem like Minx and Wadatar combined do very well on this pair. This is something that you find with backtesting. And so on every pair that you want to trade, and this is something we're going to get into with more advanced modules of PTP, especially as we flesh out our strategy testers, whether you decide to do that in Pine or Python, you're going to learn how to actually create a strategy that works on all the pairs that you want to trade, because nuance and experimentation are always going to give you more success than just applying a blank canvas template to everything. So I don't see a trade to take. Again, price is bullish and we are in the proximity of the baseline right now. So a buy would not be 100% unjustified. If we load up Quadriga, I can already tell you that we are within our buy zone. We are below the qualifying line and above the baseline, meaning we are in a profitable position to take a trade. I don't see a signal to take a trade, neither from Wadatar, neither from Minx, neither from anything that I would really say based off of price action either. But I will say that we are above the baseline, so it's not the most horrible decision. I think the risk to reward here is not terrible. You have about a 4 to 5% window of error if price closes below the baseline, where you would be getting out of your trade. So covalent doesn't look great to me, man, but actually, it doesn't really look very good at all. But I could see it. And again, if you're trading a reversal within the trend strategy, perhaps you're using a very sensitive indicator, for example, that is picking this up. Generally, you're going to need some bullish price appreciation to generate a reversal trade. However, I digress. Yeah, it's not a trade I'd take. And I don't really see any merit in it, to be quite honest with you. But again, the only positive thing that I can say is that Minx is above the zero line. Price is above the baseline. Wadatar is neutral, actually leaning bearish. Volume oscillator is telling you that volume is drying up. In fact, you can see that volume has been drying up since this point, this last little pump right here. You can see the volume oscillator moving down. And you can see that as well in our regular volume bars, where you have a nice little volume pump right here. And for the most part, price just staying slow and steady. So yeah, nothing to do here, man, with covalent. All right, looking over at Ethereum Classic. We'll look at the Bitcoin pairing, and then we will look at the USDT pairing. So over here on the Bitcoin pairing, while Ethereum Classic is seeing nothing but a whole lot of down, short signal generated here on Minx that Wadatar confirmed, and price is just down, 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 down. It's a shame. It is really a shame that they removed that from BitMEX to short. Darn shame. So nothing to do here with Ethereum Classic. We are far below the baseline. We need some consolidation and some bullish price appreciation before we're going to be able to do anything with this. Let's look at Ethereum USDT. Ethereum USDT, on the other hand, is listing lazily up to the upside, right? And why is that? Because Bitcoin dominance is rising and USDT dominance is dropping, meaning individuals are selling their tether to buy Bitcoin and also altcoins. So alt to USDT pairs moving to the upside. Rules the World says, thank you for your generous trading education. When you say pull back to the baseline, are you referring to the 21 simple moving average? No, I'm actually referring to the 13 exponential moving average. That is my baseline that I use. So let's see here. So there's no trade to take on Ethereum Classic right now whatsoever. No trade to take on Ethereum Classic, either to the upside, and of course you can't short USDT pairs. So I don't really see anything going on here. Of course, it has been not a bad hold since our primary long signal was generated here, but I mean, not really a good hold. You've just basically held value, whether you bought here or whether you bought here. So I don't see any movements to make for Ethereum Classic. But again, we do see our system getting us in at the beginning of all trends, which is exactly what we want, and for the most part, filtering out bad trades. Okay, so let's get over to Tomislav Uroic. Hopefully I pronounced that right. He wanted to look at ontology. Looking at ontology for you, good sir. Looking at ontology. This looks bad. Continuation short trade was generated yesterday on ontology BTC, and if we could short ontology, we would still be in that trade, waking up to about 5% profit so far on that position. I see nothing to do with this because we can only go long on ontology Bitcoin on Binance. And oh, that's got to be an inverse cup and handle, right? Yeah, I don't see anything, man. This does not look bueno. And this looks quite bearish. So let's see if price can get back above the baseline, give us some nice reversals here. Nothing to do with ontology BTC today. ZEC USD for Tom Hardy, looking over at Zcash USD. Again, got a long signal that was generated here. I don't really know what that means, young bull. I wouldn't really say that Bitcoin is soaring, what the fact. It's actually a pretty low volume day, but price is moving up. 93.91 on ByBit. Okay, so ZEC generated a long signal over here, a signal that we could not take because we're too far above the qualifying line. Price gives a pullback here on the 12th that we could have taken, and off to the races. Would have made about 30% off of that trade. So congratulations to anybody who took that took that Zcash USD trade. That's about it. Again, Mink's telling you to go ahead and take your profits on this trade right here. RVGI has not crossed under. RVGI will likely keep you in this trade for a couple more days. So let's see here. You've already hit, actually you sold at pretty much the top right here, utilizing our 3 take profits. Confirming a head and shoulders pattern doesn't mean anything. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a confirmed or unconfirmed head and shoulders pattern because there's no standard. Head and shoulders patterns are subjective. So you can measure your head and shoulders differently from the way that I can measure my head and shoulders, and there's no rules. I mean, there are lots of different types of rules, but again, there's different types of rules. So for example, there's many different schools of thought on what a head and shoulders is. And because there's different schools of thought, so because there is the possibility to interpret it subjectively, means that it can only be interpreted subjectively. Whereas, for example, an indicator, this green line is either above or below this black line. There's no interpretation. It's just either above or it's either below. So you make a decision based off of that. There's no squinting, there's no drawing tools, there's no measuring it differently. It just tells you exactly what is. For this reason, I don't trade patterns whatsoever. Anything that is subjective, I have excised from my trading strategy. However, again, I don't cast any shade on anybody that likes to trade patterns. I know a lot of people do. In fact, one of the traders that I respect the most, who actually works with us as an analyst in the group, Da Vinci, he is a pattern trader, and he's pretty good at what he does, just not the way that I trade. And I find that most people do not have success trading patterns. That's actually why I trade the way that I do and why I teach the way that I do. So Zcash USD, Minx is going ahead and telling you to take profit on your long position here. RVGI, as I said, hasn't crossed under yet. So probably a signal to go ahead and take some profit off of the table. Make sure your stop loss is at break even. Of course, if you were using Quadrigo, you've already been out of your position. From right here, you would have hit all 3 of your take profit targets. Beautiful trade, pretty much sold the top. Left the head for somebody else. Of course, if you use these take profit targets, you did sell the absolute top pretty much. And let's get rid of the Forex pairs right there. And yeah, I don't see anything, man. There's no re-entry signal. There's no continuation signal. Just an opportunity to take some profit on your current long position and move right along. Looking at NVIDIA from Iron CAC. We'll look at it on the NQ. All right, let's get rid of Quadrigo ATR and let's just look at price objectively. NVIDIA. I'm going to also make an adjustment to Minx to select bar coloring. Okay, so looking at No, I am not, Robert. Sped it up a little bit. Sped it up to 8. So looking at, let's go look at the last few signals that we would have gotten on NVIDIA. Okay, so here is a short trade that would have been a loser. We wouldn't have taken this long trade, and we would have taken this short trade, which would have been a good trade. Continuation short right here. We would have scaled back in. Continuation short, continuation short. So a little bit of chop right here. And again, we only take one losing trade before getting into the right direction. So basically catch this short the entire way down. Let's see here. Long signal here that we take. Maybe we take some profit on that. I doubt it. That's probably a losing trade. Yeah, that's a losing trade here. And then a long signal here, which we haven't quite gotten our take profit off of yet. And price is pulling down. So NVIDIA really just kind of giving a whole bunch of false starts. And this is typically what we see. We got a false start here, and then we got a good run here. We got a false start here before we finally got a good run here. So I would say that this is a valid long signal. Actually, no, to be quite honest with you, this is not. We wouldn't have taken this trade because we're too far above the qualifying line. So we would need a pullback into our buy zone to take this trade. Potentially you caught this wick, but highly unlikely. And maybe you took the trade anyways because it's like a fraction above. But again, I trade according to my rules. There is good volume here. You can see the volume oscillator as well as regular volume above the moving average. Wadatar confirms on a rising explosion level. So this is a really good signal. It's just a little bit too volatile and too far above the baseline. It's above our qualifying line. And statistically, those trades have a less likelihood of success. So overall, NVIDIA would have given us a ton of profit on the short trade. And over here as well, we catch some really good trends on NVIDIA. But it's also given us some chop too. I would say that the current long trade on NVIDIA is valid, but I would also, for me, I wouldn't be in this trade. I would need to see a pullback back down here into the buy zone between the qualifier and the baseline to take this trade. So we'll see. And you're basically back at break even. You are in a little bit of profit on your NVIDIA trade right now. Let's look at the weekly. Now, the weekly has done a little bit better for NVIDIA. So the weekly, you can see that we're testing the baseline and rejecting. We got a nice long signal here. We got a good short signal here. Basically caught this movement to the downside. Nice long signal here. Let's see, short signal here that we would not have taken because WADA did not confirm. And short signal here on the weekly that we would have taken and captured these 2 weeks of downside. And we haven't gotten a weekly long yet. So potentially, I'd say the daily has given you some chop. So for that reason, I popped up to the weekly, seeing if that gave us better signals, and it seems to give us much cleaner signals. Overall, I'd say NVIDIA looks quite bullish. Overall, but currently not. We are below the baseline on the weekly, and we've been getting chopped up on the daily. So again, this is something that parameter optimization would help us out with as well. But default PTP, kind of iffy. Catching some good trends, minimizing losses in other areas. I don't have a strong opinion on NVIDIA right now. This long signal is valid, but it's not a position I could have taken based on my restrictions. So if we see a pullback down here, about a 3 to 4% pullback on NVIDIA, it might be a valid trade. So I'd be looking for a reversal baseline trade. And on the weekly, I'd be waiting for the weekly to close above the 13 exponential moving average and give us a nice buy signal. Crypto Caveman, hey, good to see you, brother. Michael Naranjo asks for a link. Let's put it in the chart if we have, let's put it in the request if we have time for it. Andraunk asks, if I'm trying to set a stop loss, do I set it under the price I'm trying to buy at? Salta, thank you so much for the 10, man. Thank you so much for the 10. I actually got to go over here. Hold on, let me check. Yeah, it's been a while, man. Thank you so much for the Zloty, man. Highly appreciated, my good friend. And they ask, Salta asks, hey boss, XRP BTC. Not 4343 bottom? Well, I'm not a bottom trader, but we'll look at XRP. To be honest with you, XRP is actually something that I would normally at this point in time be interested in shorting. If we look at XRP, let's go to the daily. If we look at XRP on the daily, and the M19 pair gave us a beautiful short signal over here on the 8th of June, and had a small position on that and given us multiple continuation signals. So we are getting the continuation short on today's candle. More often than not, that's going to be good, or a good signal to take. However, I will say that XRP was the last trade that I had a successful reversal trade off of. I talked about it for quite a long time. Everybody wanted to buy at this red box territory. I said no. In fact, I know for a fact that when we were up here, I was getting chided for not being bullish on XRP. And what did we see? We saw a massive, massive drop. Everybody got bullish about XRP here. I said, nope, no, sorry. We're not buying here. We're buying down here. And we did. I bought at the top of the green line, at the bottom of the middle, at the top of the green box, the middle of the green box, and the bottom of the green box. And I sold right here. And price is now pulling back. So again, if we're going to talk chart patterns, this is going to look like a double bottom pattern. So we'll see if we can get some bullish price appreciation from there. I don't think I'm going to try my luck a second time. I made 30% off that first XRP trade. I don't think I'm most likely going to try I don't think that I'm likely to try another position. As we can see, the continuation shorts that my signal gave me were the better consistent trades. Basically had me shorting this entire movement down. And who am I to argue with my system? So I would actually be leaning much more toward the short side. But 43.43, I believe you said. 43.43 bottom. I don't see any significance to that number. Yeah, I don't see any significance to that particular number. I would say that if you were going to try a reversal trade, you would probably not be unserved by trying to utilize the levels that I utilized when I did my reversal trade in the first place. So 44.67 down to 40.77 were my buy-in zone, where I did where I laddered into a position. 20, 30, 50, got all my bids filled and sold at 30% profit. So I'm actually leaning toward a short based off everything that the system is telling me to do. But if you did want to try your hand at a reversal trade and basically trade against me, you might have success. Again, I do take losses. I would say that this zone, I would lower your sights down to 44.67 to 40.77. So good luck, man. And thank you so much for the Zloty, my brother. All right. Okay, so Andralk asks, if I'm trying to set a stop loss, do I set it underneath the price I'm trying to buy at? Because I tried a few times and GDAX did not stop me out. You know, I've heard this issue a couple times before on GDAX. People trading on, it's Coinbase Pro now, but I've heard this issue a few times from people trading on Coinbase Pro saying that their stop loss was not getting triggered. So I don't know exactly what you guys are doing. I don't know if you are setting your stop loss before you buy or how you're setting your stop loss. I'm going to have more, just a second. I'll have more information here when we start trading on Coinbase Pro again. So I would recommend using 3 commas because 3 commas is going to execute your order properly. So make sure that you're using a market order for your stop loss. And ideally, I'm not exactly sure the nuance of how GDAX calculates it, but I would recommend having your amount that you're going to sell as your stop loss level, because it's possible that you're putting a larger amount, and I don't think that GDAX has reduce only feature. I could be wrong about that. And if you are not using a reduce only feature and you try to sell a larger position, it's a possibility that they're canceling out your entire order. So I don't have any problems setting stop losses on any other exchange, and I'm sure that I'll figure it out when I go over to Coinbase Pro as well. So I'll keep you updated on that. But I would recommend looking at how you're setting your stop loss and then just experiment. Try it, try it with $1. Buy something for $1 and set a stop loss and see if it triggers appropriately. And then do that like 4 or 5 times. Lose $5. It's worth $5 to figure out what you're doing right or wrong. Jake asks, if crypto really took off, how do you think that would affect the Forex markets? I think it would tank them. I think it would absolutely tank them. I think there's going to be volatility in Forex, but I think a lot of that volatility would move into cryptocurrency. It won't if cryptocurrency remains unregulated. But as more and more regulated exchanges come out to trade cryptocurrency on that are going to hold deposits in insurance, there's going to be insurance on your crypto deposits, then you're going to see a lot of liquidity flow from Forex. I may have already touched on this. Dad23 asks, but where does Bitcoin most likely reject from? 9,700 to 10,000. Okay. I don't like doing reversal predictions, but let's take a look. Let's look at the next order block. I also, speaking on that head and shoulders pattern, I see no validation of head and shoulders pattern anywhere here. But that is me. Okay. All right, so we do have our next order block coming in between 96.70 and 98.23. So that would be the area to watch for a reversal if you were wanting to watch from such an area. I'm not exactly sure why that black line is there, so we'll get rid of it. And as we can see, this is the last up candle before a shift in market structure. So we have higher highs, and then we start having lower lows. So that's a shift in market structure. And the true body of the last up candle before shift in market structure denotes our order block. So this is where bearish initiation occurred, and this is where trapped buyers got trapped into the marketplace. So this area is something that acted as resistance, and we should look for it to act as resistance again. If price breaks through this area and then returns, typically pullbacks into the order block that is broken becomes a breaker. This area becomes a bullish breaker, and then you would buy that area. That is price action trading. So from that standpoint, 96.70 to 98.23, meaning that we are looking at potentially another 2 to 4% of price appreciation before we run into a trouble zone. As you can see, the last order block that we had was the blue box zone right here, 89.43 to 86.12. And as you can see, price came up into the blue box zone, rejected, tried again, rejected, came back up, broke through, broke back above, and a pullback into that zone right here would have been a good buy, and price is appreciating nicely above that level. That's how it works. Price comes up, rejects. Price comes up, rejects, tries again. If it breaks through, you buy the pullback. So very similar for this. If you were looking to trade a rejection, I would be targeting this area of 96.70 to 98.23. Looking for the rejection, potentially back to a previous level of support, as we saw back here. We went all the way up, back to a previous level of support. And then if price breaks through, you buy the pullback. What the fact says, why is Ethereum losing position against BTC value? I'm wanting to close at loss now since it's not going up. Yeah, I've been short on Ethereum M19 for a few days now. Actually up about 9% on that trade. Whenever BTC USD goes up, typically ETH Bitcoin goes down. webdevnoobie says 52-week highs. BTC pump it. Let's go, baby. Aren't you guys glad to be in here, man? Aren't you guys glad to be in Bitcoin? He sold? Pamp it. Pamp it, baby. All right, let's get back into our requests. We've got a few more. LTC BTC for Mr. Wayne Arndt. So, full disclosure, Litecoin Bitcoin or LTCM19 is an asset that I have a position on, and it is not to the long side. So let's see here. I mean, LTC having a nice run, but BTC USD moving up, Litecoin Bitcoin moving down, not surprising. Had its nice little run up in preparation for the halving, a lot of excitement, and now price is having a nice pullback below the baseline and throwing up bullish signals across everywhere. So this does not look good for a long, man. Also for Steve C, looking at that for you, brother. Bitcoin evil. Well, sorry you guys feel that way. Link BTC. It's not evil when I put an extra. It's not evil when I put an extra steak on the dinner table. All right, moving on. Link BTC. Ooh, Link does not look fantastic, man. Continuation long that nobody in their right mind would have taken. And pull back now to the daily baseline. Could be all right. I'd like to see a signal, though. So this would be a raw reverse, not a raw reversal, but a reversal within trend. Again, we're not really seeing a signal on that. But price is pulling back down to the daily baseline. Watatar is throwing up a red candle as well. And volume is quite low. So this might give an opportunity for a little bit of a opportunity of a scrape bid. Might give you like 5, 10, 15%. But confidence in this is quite low. Excuse me. Less than 30%, I would give this one. Again, Link gives some good signals when we get into a strong trend. Link's a nice pumper. But you gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them. So we'll see if we can't get a reversal off the baseline. I would lean bullish overall. I wouldn't be opening any short positions. There's no reason to sell, for example, if you're a holder of Link, because we're still above the daily baseline. And the opportunity is still there that we do reverse off the daily baseline, but I don't really feel confident taking that reversal trade. So we will wait to see some bullish price appreciation. Volume is extremely low, which is good to see. Low volume on a pullback generally indicates that it is a pullback and not a reversal in trend. So, nothing to do on Link. For me, anyways. There's nothing to do today, man. XMR BTC for webdevnoobie. I think that's the last request I'm going to take, guys. All right, XMR BTC having a nice little Pamperino today and throwing up a long signal. If we throw on Quadrigo, we can see, we might actually be able to take this one tonight because we are currently below the qualifying line, and we'll see what happens. Typically, I kind of like these trades, and we have a nice pump, and then we can have a nice 50% pullback. Generally, that leaves plenty of room for a second or tertiary thrust. Good volume. Volume has been rising throughout this movement, pretty much sideways consolidation, which is really nice, what we like to see. Rising explosion level and primary signal on WATA. It's all going to depend on where we close. If we close too high, we can't take the trade. If we close low enough, then we can. Volume oscillator is good. Everything about XMR BTC looks quite nice right now. And, if I just subjectively look at this consolidation period, I'd say that XMR deserves a pump right now. Okay, fine. Not evil. I'm long 100,000 contracts from 9,200 moon time. I want my Ferrari. Best of luck, man. Okay. Yeah, XMR might deserve a pamp right now. What do I think about whale spoofs on 30 million contracts on BitMEX? I think it happens every single day, man. Impossible to tell what's a spoof and what's a real order until you see it get chewed into, i.e. after the fact. Therefore, it is completely irrelevant to trading, in my personal opinion. A lot of people try to base their strategy around subjective things of that nature, and 99 out of 100 of them are not trading the next year. BTC breakout? No, not really. Candle needs to close to confirm a breakout. But price looks good. I'm sitting in Bitcoin, guys. I've been sitting in Bitcoin since right here. Actually, since right here. So, right here. Okay. 156. I think that's good, guys. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Today's been a fantastic day. We went over a whole lot. We went over our large markets. We went over Bitcoin. We went over Ethereum. We went over a lot of user-submitted chart requests. We went over traditional markets, commodities, and Forex, as we always do. And we covered the breaking news of the day and gave our personal opinions on that, as we always do, giving you guys the best knowledge and information that we possibly can. If you guys... Or seriously, let me just back up just a second. So, are you often busy? And do you miss the live show? And would you like for that not to happen? Then I recommend you check out the Breaking Bitcoin podcast. Scott's been hard at work making the podcast live. We're currently live on a lot of different podcast catchers, most likely your favorite podcast catcher. We're on Google Music and Google Podcasts, and we show up as Cracking Cryptocurrency. We'll get that switched over to Breaking Bitcoin soon. And we are on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and more coming soon under the title Breaking Bitcoin Market Update. Highly appreciate it if you guys go out and leave us a 5-star review, especially over there on iTunes. We highly appreciate that. Gets this information in front of people, and I think this information is important for people to hear because the majority of traders lose money, and I do not, and I am here every single day educating people on what is the difference between how I make money and how most people lose money. So thank you so much for the support. Let us know if you have a favorite podcast catcher you would like us to add, or you could probably manually add the podcast yourself to the RSS feed just by checking out the link. All that information can be found at breakingbitcoin.crackingcryptocurrency.com, as well as today's show notes and previous show notes as well. If you guys can go through and see a line item and timestamps of every single thing that we do, and that's going to be available right after the show. If you guys are new to trading or you are an experienced trader looking for something different and you notice the difference between how we trade and how other people trade, then you can check out all the information on our premium info page, exclusive indicators, proprietary strategies, as well as educational content in video and audio form, as well as reliable signals and setups from our team of analysts and professional mentoring. You guys can check that out at premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com, premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, sarcastic remarks, and or death threats, leave them in the comments section down below. And if it's a good question, I will try to respond back to you within 48 hours. If it's a death threat, right back at you, bud. And let's see here. Right back at you. And make sure, of course, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, DLive, Twitch, or over there on the Roku Network, to give us some love, give us a subscription, give us some thumbs up, and spread and share the news around the world, guys. Make sure that you trade safely. I've been Justin Wise for Cracking Cryptocurrency, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Trade safely.